popping Megan's knees. It was hard for me to get that one out. It's your girl Keisha, aka Color Me Pynk, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 17, Episode 2 review. I cannot believe this show has been on for 17 seasons. OMG. Okay, well, last night's episode starts off with newcomer Jenn, Gina, and Emily all meeting up to have drinks and lunch and all of that stuff. And Jenn explains her relationship with her new boo, Ryan. She says, when I met Ryan, I was in a marriage that was dying and having this excitement about someone that I shouldn't have. She says that her and her ex-husband had been sleeping in separate rooms for the past 2 years when she met Ryan. So basically, she's already admitting that she was, still married, but met this guy and was having feelings that she should not have had as a married woman. So she then goes even further to admit that, yes, she did cheat, but she says that they didn't even hold hands until, I guess, her and her husband like officially separated or divorced. Gina kind of looking like, girl, bye. Gina don't believe it. And she even tells her that she heard differently, like you was having a full-blown affair. But old girl is sticking to it and saying that they did not have an affair, or it was still an affair. I guess it was more of an emotional affair, but they weren't having any kind of intimacy sexually. But Jenn says that she literally recently just had a conversation with her ex-husband because she blamed herself, for the demise of their marriage. And he was telling her, it wasn't all your fault. You don't have to take the blame. Like, he took blame for his part. And she said that it, lifted a weight off her shoulders and made her feel a lot better about the situation. So, I guess, child. So, Heather, over there at her crib, at that, that's a compound. That ain't even no mansion. That is a compound that Heather is over there living in. And her and her staff got a whole office max downstairs in the basement prepping for her twins to go to college. I mean, a college room, dorm room ain't no bigger than my dining room. And she got refrigerators, microwaves, comforters, fax machines. I mean, everything you could think of, printers. I mean, projectors. She got everything these kids could ever need and want, honey. She got them kids ready. She even got them monogram tiles, so in case they stuff get mixed up with some of the other kids, they'll know which one is theirs. Baby, I wish I had a mama like that, child. I mean, the money is long and strong. So Shannon and Tamra both call her about their meetup. And, they're both concerned about like how this is going to go down and everything. So they end up linking up. And Tamra kicks it off because it's so awkward between them. And Tamra was like, as you know, I've been a very good friend to you over the years. And Shannon was like, as I have. And Tamra said, ish. Tamra's so ignorant. She says, being there for you was very exhausting. And then my life was crumbling. Girl, I wish a bitch would tell me that being my friend was exhausting. That's worse than you calling me out my name, child. Like, you have to be a miserable person for somebody to call you exhausting, child. So Shannon was like, we talked about how Simon started chemotherapy and you were bringing him food and didn't want Eddie to know because we talked. Like, you trying to act like we didn't talk, but we talked. And Tamra was like, but then it stopped abruptly. Shannon says, when you posted that I was a fake friend. Tamra was like, well, did you ever think to pick up the phone and say, oh, my, like, why do you feel that way? Why didn't you call me? And I'm like, okay, now Tamra, you reaching, because if you had an issue with her and you felt like she was being funny towards you, why didn't you call her and have that conversation? Like, what's the tea, girl? Why you stop calling? Like, what's the deal? This is hurting my feelings. Instead, you took to social media and started calling her out, but then you expected her to pick up the phone and say, girl, what's going on with you? Like, why you coming for my throat on social media? Like, it don't work that way. Like, everybody needs to grow up. Y'all both are middle-aged women. Like, stop it. Please stop it. Now, mind you, Tamra is saying all of this because she feels like once she got fired from the show, Shannon started acting funny towards her. This is what this stems from. So Shannon was like, because you said that I was a fake friend. And Tamra was like, well, you are a fake friend. And Shannon was like, I was checking in on you. Tamra was like, you did a couple of times. I'm going to give you that. But anything more than that, you didn't do. So Shannon was like, I don't think you get how you hurt people. And Tamra does hurt people. When Tamra gets mad at you, she goes on a whole smear campaign against you. Like, she gonna say everything under the book about you, much like what she's doing with Teresa now that her and Teresa not getting along. Because, baby, she been dragging Teresa, honey, all on her podcast. And I live for it. So Tamra brings up Shannon's drinking and saying that her ex-husband, David, used to complain about Shannon's drinking and how she used to be like, well, just stop drinking. Baby, that's what got Shannon riled up. Shannon was like, you're crossing the line. You're crossing the line. But 2 seconds later, stops the waiter and asks for a drink. I mean, we've all seen throughout the years that Shannon got a little chug-a-lug issue. You know what I'm saying? She likes to chug-a-lug, honey. And yeah. She like to say she ain't got no problem, but it's something there. You know what I'm saying? She does need to scale it back some, you know. So Shannon they both then decide to move forward and try to repair their relationship moving forward. Now, I've been watching Orange County since the beginning, and I do remember how Tamra and even Vicky used to say, you know, how they were always there for Shannon. And, you know, I remember, like, I think it was Tamra's last season on the show, she was saying how Shannon would call her all times of the night and Eddie would get mad, and how it was always an issue with her and how she always had to be there for her. And so I would expect when I'm going through getting fired from a show that I helped build and create, and then you start acting funny towards me, making me feel like you were just my friend for the cameras. Is that the deal? You know what I'm saying? I would expect for you to be there for me. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like, you know, Shannon just threw her to the wayside. But at the same time, if y'all phone calls had, you know, shortened, and then next thing I know, you going on social media calling me fake, this, that, the third, girl, I ain't got time for all that. So I see both sides. So we then go to Jenn, and she talks about adopting her son, Dominic. For years, she was a foster care parent, but then when she came across him and he entered her life, he ended up, you know, staying. Like, he wanted to stay with them. He didn't want to continue to go back and forth to the shelter and, you know, with his mom. So she ended up adopting him. It took a few years, but he's her son. She seems like she's a person with a genuine heart and everything. And so far, I'm liking Jenn. I'm liking her. It was fun seeing her at home with the kids making tacos. Ryan seems like he fits in so well with her kids. They seem to accept him. He seems like he's a loving, you know, figure in their life. So I'm digging him. We then see Tamra and Eddie at Cut Fitness. You know, they're closing it down and everything. And she brings up how he hasn't even asked her about how things went between her and Shannon. And Eddie says she drinks way too much. You can tell Eddie don't really care for Shannon. Like, he just tolerates her because of his wife. Tamra responds with saying that Shannon says that the multiple phone calls and the drunkenness only happened when she and David were going through a divorce. But Tamra was like, I'm like, no, it was John left me in New York. John left me in a restaurant. And she says in her confessional that whenever she was around them in the past, they were always in a drunken fight. And I believe it. I believe it, because we all know that Shannon is a hypochondriac. She's, you know, she's just like always on, like, go. Like, she just can't never simmer down. Like, everything is an issue. Everything is a complaint with that lady. You know what I'm saying? That has to get annoying. Like, she's the professional victim. system. And like I said, she does drink a lot. So I wasn't surprised when they ended up breaking up, child. So Gina is sick with COVID, so Emily has to host her boat party that she was going to throw. Emily and her husband go to pick up the decor, and she says Shannon said her meeting with Tamra didn't go well. So Emily was like, okay, so now I got to be on, watch for these two. Emily says that she texted Tamra and said, we never got the chance. You never really got the chance to know me previously. And like, she really is trying to work on building a friendship with them moving forward. Because in the past, they didn't really get along with each other. So Tamra and Jenn are in the car pre-gaming on the way to the boat. And I was like, this spells a disaster. Because Tamra, when she drinks, either she's going to be fun, taking her clothes off, falling all over the place. But when she's mad about something, baby, she's going to get to ripping and roaring. So all the ladies arrive in pink, and guess who joins the crew? Taylor from Beverly Hills has officially joined the show as a friend of. So Jenn is on the boat, and they was like, Tamra brings up, tell them about, your situation with your kids and how you've adopted your son. Like, it's a really great story. So Jenn starts to tell the story about how she adopted Dominic, and Shannon just completely disregards her and cuts her off because she thinks that she sees John's son on another boat. She's like, oh my God, that's John's son. Oh my God, that's him. Oh my, is that him? Oh, is that John? What is that? And it was just so rude because this lady was telling like an important, story. And here she is going on and on about seeing John's son on a boat. Like, okay, text him and say hi and move on. Like, she was being so rude and dismissive of that lady. And Tamra was like, really? You should say something. You should say something. Like, she was egging Jenn on. And Jenn in her confessional was like, it clicks. This is what my friend has experienced with Shannon over the years. So Emily and Heather tell her to continue her story while Shannon keep on talking about everything under the sun except for what this woman is trying to convey to them. So Shannon, Heather, Jenn, and Taylor end up heading to the front of the boat. And Jenn doesn't say anything to Shannon about, her being rude or anything like that. I think it's at this point she's still trying to figure everybody out and fit into the group. So Taylor asks Heather to go with her to see an acting coach because she's starring in her first film and everything. And we all know that Heather used to be a sitcom actress. So Emily and Tamra are talking about Shannon, and Heather interrupts their conversation and just sits in between them. And mind you, she did this earlier when Emily was having a conversation. She completely cut Emily off, and Emily was so annoyed by her because she rude too, rude as hell. So Emily says to Tamra, do you think you can take responsibility for maybe the things that you did that was hurtful to her? Talking about Shannon. And Tamra was like, she can F a duck. Emily was like, yeah, but that's not... Tamra was like, I didn't do anything to her other than take her phone calls all effing night to the point my kids and my husband were like, please don't take the phone call. So Emily in her confessional was like, how is she supposed to know that what she's doing is wrong if you're answering the phone calls and you're enabling this behavior? And I get exactly what she's saying. I get it 100%. But Tamra had said to her on many occasions in her last season that, girl, you got to get it together.com. Like, this is bothering my husband. But Tamra, like I said, is drunk boots by this point, and she's using her drunkenness as a way of confronting Shannon, even though they have had a conversation and this, that, and the third. So Shannon and the other girls overhear her yelling. So the girls all come together and start eating, and Emily tells Shannon she should apologize to Jenn for interrupting her. And Shannon was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. Shannon, stop. You were being rude. So Tamra was like, don't you understand that's normally how you do things? You don't acknowledge people. So Shannon says, stop with the eye rolls. I don't want to bring a bunch of people into our issues. Emily then butts into the conversation trying to play referee, and girl, just stop. You need to mind your business. So Tamra was like, Emily, stop before I effing hurt you. Why are you sticking up for her? You accept her for who she is? And Emily was like, yeah. And Taylor was like, you accept the fact that someone can be a good friend and you're going to still be friends? Okay. So Taylor is getting into the mix, honey, because she already know how this go. And anyway, her and Tamra are really cool now. I just felt like Emily should have minded her business because, girl, be quiet. So Shannon says, Tamra, I was there for you. And Tamra was like, no, you weren't. You're a liar. 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 I'll throw my effing wine at you. And Shannon was like, you're becoming unhinged. And Tamra was like, oh my God, I'm going to jump overboard. Like, she just doing team too much. And Shannon was like, have another drink. And Tamra was like, oh, F you, you effing alcoholic. So the boat docks. And Tamra says to Heather, why didn't you stand up for me? And Heather was like, I did. And so now we're starting to see how this whole thing between Tamra and Heather is starting to form, because as of right now, they don't get along. Her and Shannon are back besties. I think her and the girl Jenn gonna fall out. Girl, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. I feel like Tamra handled the situation wrong. Y'all already had the conversation. Then you come to this event drunk, still harboring feelings and attacking this lady. Even though Shannon is not a victim in this, she's had her issues as well. But she's the one that's handling it like a mature adult, whereas Tamra is not. I did feel like, once again, that Shannon was rude to Jenn. Seems like next week Jenn is going to be caught into some mess with Tamra, and Gina is the one that's going to expose it, honey. Seems like next week's episode is going to be a little bit better than this week's episode, although I enjoyed it because Tamra is a hoot and funny. I'm going to give last night's episode of Orange County, I'm going to give it a B-. Yeah. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the show down below in the comment section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell button. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.